Okay, dear students, let us continue with the stimulants for renin secretion. We have discussed regarding four important stimulants for renin secretion. First and next we are going to discuss regarding renin angiotensin system. So when the renin is released into the blood in response to any following four factors, that is fall in arterial blood pressure, reduction in ECF volume, increased sympathetic activity, increased load of sodium and chloride in macular densa and all. So at that time what happens means this renin can act on specific plasma protein. The name of that plasma protein is known as angiotensinogen or otherwise renin substrate, and this angiotensinogen is an alpha globulin. Okay, it is an alpha 2 globulin, this angiotensinogen. Due to the activity of this renin on angiotensinogen, this angiotensinogen is converted into a decapeptide known as angiotensin 1. So this renin converts angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. Okay, and this angiotensin 1 is a decapeptide. Angiotensin 1, then what happened? This angiotensin 1 is converted into angiotensin 2, that is an octapeptide. Okay, angiotensin 1 is converted into angiotensin 2, which is an octapeptide by the activity of angiotensin converting enzyme, that is ACE, from the lungs. This ACE is secreted by the lungs, and this ACE, that is angiotensin converting enzyme, will convert angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2. Then angiotensin 2 is only having a short half-life period, that is only 1 to 2 minutes. So after 1 to 2 minutes, this angiotensinogen 2 gets rapidly degraded into a heptapeptide, that is known as angiotensin 3 by angiotensinases. Okay, so these angiotensinases are present in RBC and vascular beds in many tissues. This angiotensinogen 3 is converted into angiotensin 4, which is a hexapeptide. So that is a renin-angiotensin system. Then how each of this angiotensin acts on our body? So what is the function of angiotensin 1? It is a physiologically inactive and serves only as a precursor of angiotensin 2. So the angiotensin 1 is having only single function, that is it acts as a precursor of angiotensin 2. Then what is angiotensin 2? Angiotensin 2 is the most active form. So just opposite to the angiotensin 1, angiotensin 2 the most active form, and their action are on blood vessels. This angiotensin 2 increases arterial blood pressure by directly acting on the blood vessels, causing vasoconstriction. So angiotensin 2 is a vasoconstrictor that causes vasoconstriction, and it is a potent constrictor of arterioles. Then in earlier periods, when its other actions are not found, it was called a hypertension. So in the earlier times, what happened? The actions, exact action of angiotensin 2 was not identified. So it was called as hypertension. Okay. Then it increases blood pressure indirectly by increasing the release of noradrenaline from the postganglionic sympathetic fibers, and this noradrenaline is also a general vasoconstrictor. So as a result of this vasoconstriction, the BP also increases, and indirectly what happened is this angiotensin 2 enhances the noradrenaline release from the postganglionic sympathetic fibers, and this noradrenaline is also a general vasoconstrictor. Then on adrenal cortex, how it acts? So on adrenal cortex, this angiotensin 2 stimulates zona glomerulosa of adrenal cortex to secrete aldosterone. Okay, so the aldosterone is secreted due to the action of this angiotensin 2. The aldosterone acts on renal tubules and increases retention of sodium, which is also responsible for elevation of blood pressure. So this aldosterone acts on this renal tubules and enhances the sodium retention. So as the result of the sodium retention, water reabsorption increases, so that may increases the blood pressure. Then kidney, how it acts on the kidney. Angiotensin 2 regulates glomerular filtration by two ways in the kidney. First one, it constricts the afferent arterioles, which causes decrease in filtration after initial increase. So what happened is, this angiotensin 2 acts on the afferent arterioles. So what happened? Initially there will be an increased filtration rate, but gradually the filtration rate gets decreased. Okay. Then it contracts the glomerular mesangial cells, leading to decreased surface area of glomerular capillaries and filtration. The next function of angiotensin 2 is contractile function. That means it contracts the glomerular mesangial cells. So what happened during the contraction of glomerular mesangial cells? It decreases the surface area of glomerular capillaries and also the filtration. It increases sodium reabsorption from the renal tubules, and this action is more predominant on the proximal tubules. So sodium reabsorption is increased, and the action is more predominant on the proximal tubules. Then how it acts on the brain. Angiotensin 2 inhibits the baroreceptor reflex and thereby indirectly increases the blood pressure. So there is a reflex known as baroreceptor reflex, which is having role in the blood pressure regulation. So angiotensin 2 inhibit that reflex, that is baroreceptor reflex, so indirectly increases the blood pressure. Baroreceptor reflex is responsible for decreasing the blood pressure. This reflex, that is baroreceptor reflex, is responsible for decreasing the blood pressure, but this angiotensin 2 inhibit that reflex, so it increases the blood pressure. Then it increases water intake by stimulating the thirst center. Thus angiotensin 2 increases water intake by stimulating the thirst center. The next function is increasing the secretion of corticotropin releasing hormone, that is CRH, from the hypothalamus. CRH in turn increases secretion of adrenocorticotropic hormone from the pituitary. So angiotensin 2 CRH ന്റെ റിലീസിനെ increase ചെയ്യിക്കും, that is corticotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. And ഈ CRH എന്താ ചെയ്യുന്നത്? It increases the secretion of adrenocorticotropic hormone from the pituitary. So രണ്ടിൻ്റെയും quantity increase in body. The next function is it increases the secretion of antidiuretic hormone from the hypothalamus. Antidiuretic hormone or ADH from the hypothalamus. Then other actions. What are the other actions? Angiotensin 2 acts as a growth factor in the heart, and it is thought to cause muscular hypertrophy and cardiac enlargement. So it can be considered, this angiotensin 2 can be considered as a growth factor. That means it enhances the growth process. So it acts on the heart, and it is thought to cause muscular hypertrophy and cardiac enlargement. Then the action of angiotensin 3. This angiotensin 3 increases blood pressure and stimulates aldosterone secretion from the adrenal cortex. So this angiotensin 3 increases the blood pressure and thereby it stimulates the aldosterone secretion from the adrenal cortex, and it has 100% adrenocortical stimulating activity and 40% vasopressor activity of angiotensin 2. That is the function of angiotensin 3. Okay. Then function of angiotensin 4, it also has adrenocortical